They left this city overnight. At sunset, the streets were still alive. Lights in the windows, cars in motion, voices in the distance. By morning, it was over. No traffic, no people, no explanation, just silence. And that silence feels wrong. Welcome to Fascination Reality, where we explore the hidden psychology behind places most people never truly understand. If you're drawn to mysteries like this, consider subscribing, because today, we're not just exploring an abandoned city, we're exploring what happens inside your mind when an entire world suddenly stops. Section 1. Life Interrupted. Walk through a place like this, and something feels off immediately. Not because of destruction, but because of preservation. Everything is still here. Cars remain parked exactly where they were last used. Some angled slightly, as if the driver planned to return within minutes. Street signs still stand upright. Benches remain positioned for conversations that never resumed. Inside homes, the details become more unsettling. Chairs are slightly pulled back from tables. Curtains hang neatly beside the windows. Dishes sit inside cabinets, untouched. Nothing suggests a long goodbye. There are no signs of packing, no signs of preparation. Only one thing becomes clear. Whatever happened here, it happened suddenly. Your brain begins to search for answers. A disaster? An evacuation? Something worse? But the environment refuses to confirm any of it, because nothing looks destroyed. Instead, everything looks paused, and that creates a very specific kind of tension. You are not walking through ruins. You are walking through moments that never finished. A conversation that was interrupted. A routine that was broken. A life that simply stopped. And your mind struggles with that, because humans don't accept unfinished stories. We need endings, but this place doesn't give you one. Section 2. The weight of silence. Cities are built for movement. They are designed around noise, flow, and constant activity. Engines running, footsteps echoing, voices overlapping in the distance. Even at night, a city never truly goes quiet. There is always something. So when you step into a city like this and hear absolutely nothing, your brain reacts, because the silence isn't neutral. It's unnatural. This creates something known as cognitive dissonance. Your eyes tell you, this place should be alive, but your ears tell you, there is nothing here. And that contradiction creates discomfort. But it goes deeper than that. On an evolutionary level, silence has always meant one thing: danger. In nature, when everything suddenly goes quiet, it usually means something is wrong. Predators, threats, uncertainty. Your brain is wired to notice that instantly. And even though you are standing in a city, surrounded by buildings, streets, and familiar structures, that ancient instinct still activates. That's why the silence feels heavy. It's not just the absence of sound. It's the presence of something missing. Something that should be there, but isn't. And your mind starts asking questions. Why did everyone leave? What caused this? And more importantly, could it happen again? Section 3. Liminal spaces and the glitch. There is another layer to this feeling. Something harder to describe. Cities like this become what psychologists call liminal spaces, places that are meant for transition. Streets are meant to be crossed. Sidewalks are meant to be walked on. Entrances are meant to be passed through. They are not designed to be still. But when an entire city becomes empty, those transitional spaces lose their purpose. They no longer lead anywhere. They no longer connect people. They simply exist. And that creates a strange psychological effect. It feels like a glitch, like something in reality is not functioning correctly. Everything is familiar, but everything is wrong. You recognize the environment. You understand how it should work, but it doesn't. And that disconnect creates unease because your brain relies on patterns. When patterns break, you feel it immediately. That's why empty cities feel so different from ancient ruins. Ruins belong to the past. They feel completed, closed. But a modern abandoned city feels unfinished, as if time itself stopped mid-process and never restarted. Section 4. The human trace. But the most powerful part of this experience comes from the smallest details. A child's toy lying on the floor. A pair of shoes placed neatly by a door. A calendar frozen on a specific date. These are not just objects. They are traces of life. They tell you that someone was here. Someone lived here, moved here, cared about this space. And suddenly, the city is no longer abstract. It becomes personal, because these objects force you to imagine the people behind them. Who left this behind? Why didn't they take it? Did they think they would come back? These questions don't have answers, but your brain keeps asking them anyway, because humans are wired to understand other humans. And when you see evidence of a life that was interrupted, you feel it. Not logically, emotionally. This is sometimes described as a moment of realization that every stranger has a life as complex as your own. And here, those lives were cut off. Not ended, not concluded, just left behind. Section 5. Why we keep coming back. So why are we drawn to places like this? Why do millions of people feel fascinated by abandoned cities? It's not just curiosity, it's confrontation. Places like this quietly challenge something we believe to be stable. We assume cities last. We assume systems continue. We assume our way of life is permanent. But this proves otherwise. Everything you see here once functioned perfectly, until it didn't. And that realization stays with you, because it means stability is temporary, normal life is fragile, and everything around us exists on the condition that it continues. So if you ever found yourself walking through a city like this, completely silent, perfectly preserved, but entirely empty, would you stay or would you leave before you found out why everyone else did? If you want to understand why abandoned places feel even more personal, watch what happens inside abandoned hotels.